Or do you want to go at measuring effectiveness in a more anthropological almost fashion, right? Or now in the media environment, we go more digital anthropology kind of way. So do I want to do sort of a what's this thing called? Digital ethnography kind of route where I want to join people in their natural digital lives without them fully knowing that I am a researcher. I just join them in, I don't know, in a group about marine life, in a Facebook group about marine sustainability, or in a community Facebook group, right? I just want to naturally join the group, sit there, observe ethnographically, digital ethnographically, observe their kinds of conversations they have about the environment, about marine life, in that natural digital life of theirs, right? Then I come from there, I come back and I make interesting, wholesome arguments about people's attitudes around sustaining marine life. Or if I want to go real life ethnography, not even digital, I don't know how, in what way you're going to do that. Be in spaces where organizations that are pro marine sustainability, when the NGO goes out to have outreach at a text ring or whatever they do, I want to be in those spaces, find people in that natural setting where the organization is doing this outreach and awareness raising, then observe physical real life sense, observe people's actual behaviors towards these messages and towards these efforts, right? Because some people may just come because there might have been some t-shirts that they were going to give in, or there'll be food given, and then they were not interested in learning even. So they went for different reasons. Then you just observe, and then you speak to some few people. Of course, you'll work around the ethics around that. Speak to a few people after those kinds of outreach events in real life that NGOs do when they promote marine sustainability. Then you have that kind of ethnographic sense as well. Check the effectiveness of messages about marine sustainability. So the content in and of itself can be critically analyzed to say something about the nature of the content and whether or not it's actually not going to be effective because of inaccessibility, linguistically, intellectually perhaps, and otherwise. Then with that knowledge, then I want to check, okay, the platforms I can still check the platforms themselves on which this content is put on. Facebook, for instance, the affordances that Facebook allows, right? It allows the NGOs to put, let's say, long-ish kinds of content forms to make their messages textually in a long written text form. Or Facebook can allow a picture. Facebook now allows reels and videos as well. Then you check, okay, the platform, are these kinds of efforts, are they getting the kinds of engagements that we can say will be effective? And are people commenting? Are people engaging? Are the viewership and engagement figures such that I can make an argument to say that in terms of reaching the people, social media are effective because the number of likes that this post gets, the number of reshares that this post gets, the number of comments in the section and engagement is quite high. So yes, I can make somewhat of an argument of effectiveness in reach. But now, for effectiveness in social behavioral influence, I go to the people. Then I decide, am I doing sort of a digital ethnographic kind of approach to go be with people in the online interwebs, on the social media platforms I'll go with, just be with them in the space by joining particular specific groups, or just joining them under the comment sections of a post about marine sustainability, saying something to sort of also just join them and engage with them in there. Then you have that ethnographic kind of participant observer kind of thing. Then you are with them in the space, right? And then you're going to use that content to then later on make your arguments, right, about the effectiveness in the conversations that you helped to stir, or the conversations that you found in those threads. Can you make inferences that, some people are really actually, behaviorally speaking, there are some people that are effectively motivated and encouraged to start taking care of the marine, then you can make those arguments. So that's just the three-pronged approach that I'm trying to put out to you there. Yes, summary from your side. How do you understand?
Okay.
Yes.
So while we are on the content analysis side, let's say I'm going to a Facebook post and I check the comments and what people are the reactions. So let's say, would I need to touch where, let's say, I will check if this organization shares a video. Let's say when the organization shares a video, it gets more views or more engagement compared to when an organization maybe just share like just writing like a whole paragraph with no picture or no video, or when they share pictures. Would I need to touch on those dynamics?
Yes. Yes. You are a media and communication scholar, so you want to advance our the literature in that regard, because there is literature in marketing and advertising, I'm pretty sure, in integrated marketing communication, in advertising communication. I'm pretty sure there already is literature that speaks to the effectiveness of social media for advertising or marketing or whatever. So you're going to advance it in those ways where you look at the affordances of the platform. And then, because Facebook allows for long, they say long paragraphs or these written paragraphs, then you check the kinds of engagements that those paragraphs get. And then it allows for audiovisual reels as well. And you check that the engagement there is different. Then you make an argument that there's something to be said about the nature of the strategic communication that we use for awareness raising. So the attention economy seems to be much more drawn to audiovisual content. Because it's either the attention economy is now such that people don't have time to read a long post. People want an engaging audiovisual post. So then you can make these kinds of recommendations to those NGOs to say, it's clear that your written text, your written posts don't get the engagements that you think that you'd hope to get. It's your more audiovisual reels that get the kind of engagements that that are effective. So do more of this. So from a point of view of a media and communications expert, do more of this. Let your outreach strategies focus more on audiovisual forms of communication. Make them punchy, make them effective in these ways. Then you make those kinds of recommendations, yes. But you're also telling us that this seems to work and this doesn't seem to work when it comes to messages specifically about marine sustainability. So yes, you are the communications and media scholar here. You are not really you are not the marine sustainability expert. You are the media and communication expert. So what you are bringing to the table comes from the side of media and communications to help marine sustainability advocates, experts, to better get their messages out there.
So let's say when I'm collecting, let's say I'll collect comments on Facebook or Twitter or X or TikTok. What is the ethical side of that? Because there's Copy Act. You can't. Am I allowed to just take copy comments and then paste and then use it on my study? So because I will also need to understand the ethical side of it.
Yes. So and that's very important as well. Different ethics committees within our different institutions will obviously have, I'm thinking all of them will have policies that are written, right? Just ethical guidelines on how to best go about working with online data, right? With UNISA, I don't want to speak on behalf of UNISA actually, but I'm pretty sure that with UNISA there is somewhat of ethical guidelines that have been worked out right now. The one other thing is the platforms that you'll be working on. It's important that you check that those platforms' community guidelines. They give specific community guidelines about data use and data repurposing as well. Then you'll have a lot of issues around anonymity of the data. So publicly available data, there may be ethical allowances for publicly available data where the person who went onto the platform opened an account, accepted the terms and conditions of opening that account, and part of the terms and conditions says if you put something public post out there that is public,
Yeah.
You accept that this post will sort of take a life of its own in particular ways, right? So the platform can't protect what happens to that post. So you've made it a public thing like that, right? So you accept those terms and conditions. So ethically, you might have allowance as a researcher to use some of those publicly available data from the people who did go into the platform and did accept the terms and conditions, which a lot of us don't read actually.
I will
So
just
yeah,
accept.
so you might have ethical allowance, but even their anonymity still, you may not actually expose those people. So you might have to what's the word that we use? Hide the person's
Hide their
username.
names.
Yes, hide the person's username. And if you're gonna have a screenshot, maybe also hide the little picture, profile picture thingy that they might have,
Yeah.
just for anonymity's sake. Then you give them names: user 1, user 2, commenter 1, commenter A, commenter B. Then you find a pseudonym kind of thing to give to the commenters if you want to quote them directly in particular ways.
Yeah.
So yes, ethically, there is allowance, and you'll see as you read more of the ethical guidelines on using online data. Publicly available, openly accessible social media data can be used for research purposes. Just check specifically the community guidelines of those platforms and check the ethical considerations around anonymity, protecting those people from harm. They should not be exposed to future harm because of comment that they made that you are reproducing in your study. So when you must responsibly and ethically reuse those comments to help you advance your point, to help us develop our knowledge around this important topic.
Thank you so much. That was quite helpful. So I will also need to look at the research design, like the method that the study will take. Will it be like a mixed method approach, like qualitative and quantity, or just a qualitative method, or what do you think? It will be a
Yes,
mixed?
I know. So I should have also asked this earlier on, actually. You are coming into this with a hunch. You have a particular hunch that you want to actually explore and find out if you are actually right. There's something that you are thinking about marine sustainability, and whether communication around that is effective or not, if it's getting to the people that need to hear about it or not.
Yeah.
I'm sure as Xola, you are coming in with a hunch that you find that maybe these NGOs are actually their efforts are not effective. Maybe that's your hunch, or your hunch is that their efforts are actually effective. So I want to know actually how social media. I just want to specifically prove this point to say that their efforts are effective. So you have your hunch, right? Now you make the choice. Do I want to prove this hunch of mine qualitatively, quantitatively, or mixed methods wise? Quantitatively, I can go the route of huge questionnaire surveys, like a lovely representational, huge amount of quantitative surveys that I send out to that specific population that I'll decide on. If it's Umtata, then you look at people from that side. So you must also then be clear about demographically who are they, what is their age group, what is their demographic makeup, right? Where should they be staying? What age groups should they have? What educational backgrounds should they have? You should be clear about demographically who are those people, and what should be their social media access and their social media use.
Yeah.
So those will be the characteristics that will make them qualified to take the survey, right? You'll figure those things out. Once you figure that out, then you can actually distribute a quantitative questionnaire survey where you ask around people's knowledge about marine life, marine sustainability. Then you'll know about, okay, educationally, do people even know about it? Do they even understand what this thing is? Then another set of questions in the survey then asks people's thoughts and attitudes towards the environment, especially towards the coastal environment, right? Then you have a set of questions in that section. Then in the survey as well, you would then want to explore some of the behavioral kinds of, in a very top level way, some of the behavioral effects of these messages about marine life on people. Then you ask strategic questions in the questionnaire about people's behaviors before knowing or hearing about marine sustainability. What do they think about the environment? Afterwards, what kinds of things do they practically do to keep the coast clean? What kinds of things do they practically do to protect the oceans? Then you ask them questions, strongly disagree to strongly agree type of thing, behavioral things. Like, I always strive to pick up plastics when I'm on the beach, like those practical kinds of behavioral things. Then you put them as statements, and then you have maybe, let's say, strongly disagree to strongly agree with a 5-point Likert scale, for instance. You can go that quantitative route, and then you'll make these very descriptive, quantitatively descriptive, yet generalizable representative kinds of arguments about the educational effects of communication about marine sustainability, the attitudes, psychological based effects about these messages, and the social behavioral effects about these messages quantitatively. You can. What you can do then is mix that and supplement it with lovely, in-depth, wholesome, qualitative kinds of. This is where you take some of the people that took the survey, then you bring them maybe into a room, then you qualitatively explore these thoughts in a focus group or two. Then you get it from their mouth, qualitatively speaking, what's their relationship with communication about marine sustainability, and what's their relationship from the horse's mouth with the environment, with marine life, with the oceans where they are. Then you have this mixed method kind of approach as well. Otherwise, you can also have the content part with the thingy part, with the humans part. So the content, a qualitative kind of content analysis on the nature of these messages, and then you still have the qualitative approach with the humans, either focus groups or ethnographic kinds of observations, or digital ethnographic kinds of observations with humans. Then you leave out the quant part, or you can have the quant with the qual humans. You might even have the quant with the content, the qual content. So the nature of the qualitative content analysis about the nature of the messaging and the platforms that they are put on. Then you have the quantitative survey data, where you check that, are these messages effective on these people based on what people say. Then you give us the statistics that most respondents actually said they don't care about the environment. Most respondents who were exposed to marine sustainability communication actually says that they don't have time to care about that, or what. Then you can. So you can decide. And at PhD level, mixed methods are actually quite wholesome, because it gives you such breadth. You have more information for yourself for the study, which means that you can publish more from your study.
Because that's what I wanted to know. Do I have that option to choose whether it's quali or quanti, or I have to go for quanti or just qualitative method? So it's good to know that, I can do the mix method if I want to go that route.
Yes. What was my main message today? Choices.
Choices.
There's no one way of doing the PhD. We have choices as researchers, as long as we justify our choices, so that the examiner knows. Then the examiner knows exactly, like, okay, I'm convinced this person they took this route. I'm convinced because they justified it so well and they backed it up with either literature or whatever else. So yes, you are going to be making many choices, Xola, on this journey. Strategic choices, theoretical choices as well, methodological choices as well. So I don't know if you've already thought theoretically about it, but you need to then orientate your study within a particular kind of lens and a particular kind of paradigm. You might come from an interpretivist paradigm where you say reality is actually just dynamically interpreted by people. So reality, people's notions of reality are interpreted in very different ways. So what an NGO might say is harmful to the marine life, a person on the ground, from the people that you might speak to, may actually not look at their behavior as harmful. So they make a different interpretation of reality. So paradigmatically speaking, reality is interpretative. So you take this interpretational or interpretivist approach to the analysis. You might take a social constructionist kind of approach. As I was saying, then you might come from a social constructionist point of view, where you say reality is actually just socially constructed, right?
Yeah.
In this sense, then you say, okay, marine sustainability, threats to the marine. When you look at it through a social constructivist kind of lens, right? You say NGOs, right, that work with marine sustainability, they socially construct a particular kind of reality.
Yeah.
That causes that raises messages about marine world being in trouble. So they socially construct a particular reality to say that in terms of marine life, there's this huge threat to marine life. Like there's a huge societal threat. There's just a huge threat because of human behavior towards the environment. And then through their efforts to have these messages about how to sustain our marine life, right? They help socially construct this reality, reinforce this reality that, hey guys, marine life is in danger. We need to sustain our marine. So they've created that reality. Now they raise awareness. So they are engaged in the social constructioning of a particular reality about something in relation to the world. And in this case, about the environment and about the marine life specifically. And then you have positivists. This is your more quantitative people. The positivists will tell you there's a certain reality out there, and it's a one reality that you can go out there and prove. Literally, the reality is out there. Marine life is in danger. That's the reality. It's the reality. It's there. Go out there and find out. So that's your hypothesis. Marine life on the Eastern Cape Coast is significantly endangered. So from a positivist perspective, I'm actually going to go out there and just literally have surveys taken by experts in marine life in the Eastern Cape, based in the Eastern Cape, survey them about marine life and the endangerment of marine life, and come back with statistical information to say, yep, these 50 experts that were surveyed, the results show 90% of them strongly agree marine life is in trouble. And then you decide, where are you coming from in this topic? Interpretivist vibes, social constructionist kinds of voice, more positivist kinds of voice, or post-positivist kinds of voice, and other paradigms, because there are many other paradigms as well, right? So you make those decisions as well, and that will inform you in terms of, okay, theoretically, where am I positioning myself? Because there are many ways of looking at marine sustainability. It can come from many ways. I can come from, and this is not top of mind, from an Ubuntu-centric way. I can come from the place of Ubuntu. And say, guys, the environment is alive. Let's treat the environment like a human as well. Mother Nature is a person. She's a person. So as Africans, we know what we say about Ubuntu, protecting the dignities of others, treating others how you want to be treated. I am because you are. So let's take the environment as one of us. The environment is alive. It's one of us. So let's treat the environment with Ubuntu as well, guys. So that's a perspective that you can still come from, to say, from an Ubuntu-centric lens, right?
I love that.
Yes, we humanize the environment. We make Mother Nature a person and say, why would you not treat Mother Nature in that Ubuntu way of, I am because you are. You must do everything to safeguard your well-being and your
Yeah.
dignity. Because if you are healthy and well, it means I am healthy and well. It means there's so much harmony that we advance ourselves in ways that ensures our health, our development, our sustainability. So that's just an example of, in terms of theoretically, conceptually, where do you
Yeah.
want to situate your study as well? Because then you have different ways of coming from it, right? Ubuntu is just
Yeah.
one of those examples because I had now something top of mind. So also think around it, please. Where am I going to situate the study of mine theoretically, conceptually, in
Yeah.
relation to that worldview that I'm developing in terms of paradigm as well?
Mm.
So yeah.
Thank you so much. I love the Ubuntu part of it, because really we really need to love the environment, to know what it means, to not just look at the sea and be like, oh, it's just the sea. Yeah, well, there's nothing to it. We just need to understand, that also our economic as well depends on that. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. I'm loving this conversation.
I
um
no, I love that then if you are loving it then because yeah, if Mother Nature, imagine if that's how you treat your mother then. Mother Nature.
mm,
So really
mm,
From an Ubuntu perspective, is this how you
yeah,
treat your mother, really? Because this is your
yeah.
mother, Mother Nature. So please, yeah, let's think around. This is not how we treat our mothers as Africans, guys, please. So yeah, that's one of the ways you could think about it. Go ahead, sorry, I feel like I cut you. You wanted to say something there.
Oh no. So we will also, I will also need to come up with the research questions and all of that. I've always struggled. Like when I first started doing research, I was like, how do you even formulate research questions?
Yeah,
So I think if we could touch on that, because I know it will help maybe someone who's doing honors, who just started doing honors. I
yeah.
also need a refresher as well, because I haven't done research. So how do I come about like formulating these research questions? And for PhD, do I need 2 or 3? Is there like a number where you say, okay, you need 5 research questions? If you can just assist me there.
With that. Oh, okay, okay. No, thank you for that question. Again, you'll hear the choices thing is going to come up again, but the most simplistic way is that's why we do a lot of the a lot of the pre work on conceptualizing, so that
Yeah,
we arrive at a clear problem statement for our research. But for you now, in this case, right, our topic sentence is our starting point as well. Of course, now you're going to clarify this now and mold it in more. But now
yeah,
we're seeing us assessing the effectiveness of social media platforms in promoting marine sustainability in South Africa, right? A
yeah,
comparative study of Facebook and X. This will now, after this conversation, I'm sure this is going to change in particular ways, right?
yeah,
But that's oftentimes our starting point at a broad level of what we broadly want to explore. We want to explore how effective are social media platforms um, in promoting marine sustainability or in
yeah,
influencing human behavior in relation to ensuring marine sustainability, right? That's my overarching topic. Now I'm trying to work
mm,
out now topic in terms of the research problem, right? A part of me probably knows that the literature is telling me that marine life is endangered by particular coasts, right? So
yeah,
I'm going to focus on a particular coast in the Eastern Cape because even maybe the information there shows that, or there's not enough information. So my PhD is going to be a new study that actually
mm,
focuses specifically on the Eastern Cape, which then originality already tick
yeah,
for that. Then, because then I want to bring it to a problem statement to say that, okay, my problem statement might be something like, how effective are Facebook and X
mm,
um, in communicating um, me- messages about marine sustainability
yeah,
in the Eastern Cape problem. Then you say a mixed methods exploratory analysis of whatever you decide, of
Yeah.
NGO PSAs. If you're going to decide to go with public service announcements by NGOs as maybe your corpus of data, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of a problem statement. I want to check the effectiveness of Facebook and X in communicating messages about marine sustainability in the Eastern Cape province. In the Eastern Cape province, there's whatever colons,
Yeah.
a mixed methods exploratory analysis of, let's say, the name of the NGO of Xola's NGOs public service announcements, right?
Mm.
Then questions from there. What questions can I ask for me to explore this problem that I'm raising here, right?
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you. So these are research questions. They'll come from once I've figured out what is my problem statement,
Problem.
and then from there I
Yes.
can formulate the research questions. Okay, I've got you.
Yes. So now I ask myself, am I asking 2 or 3 things? I'm going to ask 3 questions, 4 questions, or 5 questions to help me explore effectiveness. There's the other earlier conversation. Effectiveness on what ground? Now I use my questions. How effective are social media PSAs by Xola's NGO on the educational, on influencing people's educational knowledge about marine sustainability? Question 1. Then, in what ways are PSAs effective in influencing behavior? I'm just giving you rough ideas here.
Yeah,
Then Then your first question is focused on the educational effects of these efforts by this NGO. The second one is interested in the behavioral effects. So you'll ask the question around the behavioral influence or the behavioral effects. And then another question could be on attitudes. Or you start with education, then you check the attitudes, then you check the behaviors. Then you'll have 3 overarching questions that look at these 3 aspects of influence or of effect. Then you can make some inferences about the causal relationship. So this NGO or these NGOs, they use these kinds of public service announcements or whatever they use on social media to speak to the issue of marine sustainability, right? Then that's what they do. They post them on social media, and those are their communicative efforts. Now you want to ask questions. Okay, the people on the receiving end of these efforts, right? If I'm going to do this mixed methods study, the people on the receiving end, then I want to find out, are they educated by these PSAs? And in being educated, are their attitudes in any way changing, or are they affected or transformed in any way towards marine life? And then lastly, from their attitudes, do they have actual tangible behavioral changes that they say that they do, right? That I can speak about to show that there is an effect from these efforts. So then you might have those 3 questions. They may be guided by an overall question to say, are social media-based PSAs about marine sustainability effective in informing, I don't know, people in whatever context?
Yeah,
to change their attitudes around marine sustainability. Then overarching question. Then you break it down into the 3 sub-questions, where you broke it down with education and awareness, attitudes and opinions about marine sustainability. Lastly, actual behavioral change. Then your objectives are literal. Your objectives will just mirror the questions.
the questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like.
Thank you for that refresher. I needed it. Thank you so much.
I think I needed it as well to verbalize it in this way. So thanks for asking that. But yeah.
Okay, so and then now these questions, the research questions that we have, when now I'm done with analyzing the data, now I'm in the findings. So right there, the findings, should they answer those questions now, the findings, or when I'm writing my findings, should I be write them in a way that I'm also answering those questions? Or
Um, yes. So at some point, you'll have to answer the questions, right? So you'll decide whether this happens in that concluding final chapter. And then
okay.
you might have a discussions chapter as well, depending on where you go methodologically speaking. So let's say
Yeah.
you did have a mixed method approach, right? So
Yeah.
you did do hundreds and hundreds of surveys, right? That you put out there to people. Then analytically, you wanna first present the data from the survey, right? You wanna just present the data based on these three themes in your survey, because your survey will be strategically themed, where the first portion of the survey looks at, let's say, people's attitudes towards marine life, right?
Yeah.
Then the second portion will look at the educational influence of messaging about marine sustainability. Then your third portion will look at practical behavioral influences of this messaging, or that this messaging has on these people. And then now you want to present the findings to us to tell us statistically, in terms of people's attitudes, these are the dominant attitudes that people have dominantly. It's dominantly negative right now because in the question about what do you think about the environment, 90% of people had their response, they mostly agreed that it's not important to care about the environment, or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
right? So you present those findings without thinking yet about answering the questions. You're just presenting us what you found from your surveys. Then that could be a lovely, wholesome standalone chapter on its own. Then you make some inferences about these statistics. What are they telling us overall about people's attitudes about marine sustainability, people's educational levels and informed levels when it comes to marine sustainability, and people's behaviors towards the
Yeah.
environment. Then you move on to the qualitative. Let's say then you did the qualitative portion of the mixed methods where you had your focus groups, right? And in the focus groups, you focus on these three themes of education, perceptions and attitudes, and into behavior. Qualitatively, you present that data. In the focus groups, right? We had conversations around where you explored openly. Then you can decide, well, I have 4 themes maybe that come out, sort of more exploratory themes where
Okay.
you did a thematic analysis of your transcripts from those
Yeah.
conversations, and then thematically you found 3, 4, or 5 overarching themes that give us a sense of people's general attitudes toward marine sustainability, people's general education level about marine life, and people's behaviors towards the environment. Then you discuss those themes in that chapter qualitatively. You make arguments about them. That's it. Then you might have a finalized closing of chapter where you go back now. You're going to respond to your research questions then. But yes,
Okay.
literally then using the information from those 2 previous chapters, the findings
Yeah.
from there, using those findings, I want to answer the questions now. Then you check how effective are NGO efforts at in influencing people's educational knowledge about marine sustainability. Then you answer the question. Your study finds that they are actually not as effective because, as seen in chapter, maybe the quantitative information, something percent of people were actually uninformed vibes. And then qualitatively also you draw from there. In the conversations, it was clear that people are just not informed. They're just not aware. So these efforts are not effective. And the social media platforms are just not effective. Then that's how you answer those questions
Those
at the very
questions.
end. Yes.
All right, all right. Thank you so much. Just the last question that I think I forgot to ask. I know you said we have I have a choice, choices. It's all up to me. So with the sampling size, it's also my choice there. If let's say I'm deciding to go for content analysis and then I decide to collect, let's say 500 comments from TikTok. So that's also my choice. How many people do I want to survey or interview?
Yeah. Yes, yes, it will also be your choice. And oftentimes you'll see your choice will, in many ways, be influenced by the literature that you read. You're going to be
Yeah,
reading a lot of literature and you're going to be exposed to how other people went about doing similar kind of work, right? Then you check
yeah.
the kinds of you'll check the kinds of findings that they found actually. So then you'll decide, do I want to repeat what they did? If they had
Mm,
500 comments and then those were the kinds of findings that they found. Then you check, what if I actually do 2,000 comments
yeah,
just to broaden the data set, right? And
yeah.
then I'll either find that I reach saturation at about 500 comments. I started seeing the same kinds of things. So I actually did reach saturation, which just emphasizes that methodologically, we don't need more than 500 comments to actually say what we need to say. But those are also the kinds of uh, functional choices that you'll make. But yes, you make the choices, but just make sure that your choice is not related to wanting to take the easy way out, please. We want to work smart
Yeah.
and not too hard, but we don't want to just cop out. Just don't do a cop out where I just want to take 500 comments only just for the sake of it because it'll be easier to do that.
Yeah.
That's not a good justification. If you want to
Mm,
take 500 comments specifically, then the justification might be that in all TikTok videos with the hashtag marine sustainability, right, that I've gotten as a sample, what I found that is that they don't even get much engagement. They literally get 20 to 30 comments in total. So
yeah.
of course, all of them that I'm going to download, I'll use 500 of them because all in all, they mostly don't even get much engagement. So 500 is actually a huge sample across let's say 20 of them. If I do 500
Mm,
across 20 of them, that's a huge representative sample of commentary under these videos because they generally don't get many as well. So yeah, just always your choices just always justify it to show that
yeah.
this is one. Yes, yes. Hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah, it will help a lot. This was very helpful. It was more like a refresher for me because I kind of the last time I did my masters, so this was great. It wasn't even good. It was great because I was like, oh, I forgot about that now that you mention it.
Yes.
Because I also I had this thought that when you're doing a PhD, there's a certain way that you must take. You need to do these. I didn't know you have choices as long as you just justify those choices. Yeah. So now I always thought, oh, maybe you need 3 research questions or 5 because it's a PhD. I will need 5 research questions or I need to do this. But now my eyes are wide open. I know what to do. I know how to. Now I will know that I need to back up whatever decision I'm taking. Thank you
Yes.
so much. That was really
Excellent.
helpful. Yeah. So now I will know where to knock. I will just go to look for your name in one of those offices and be like, bro, I'm
I can
stuck here. I
help.
need help
Yes.
here.
Yes. Yes. And also just at the back of your mind, think of the nuances sometimes, right? As
Mm,
you conceptualize. For now, you are thinking broadly. It's fine. We're thinking
yeah.
very broadly, but just keep your mind open for some of the nuances. What's happening on the
Yeah.
ground? Yeah. So that when I come with my study, there might be interesting nuances that I need to also bear in mind. Something like what's the actual realities of these communities that these NGOs want to teach about marine sustainability
Mm,
in their
mm,
real lives. Yeah. What is their reality? Do they even care about being preached at about marine sustainability? Those kinds of things will sometimes also help you think, about how theoretically, how do I go about this? Do I take that Ubuntu centric kind of way, or do I take a different kind of route that maybe makes me go a different way? But yeah, keep your mind open about the nuances as well.
Yeah,
As,
yeah.
as you conceptualize it, yeah, keep thinking top level for now, just to get a beautiful proposal together that you can defend. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you're on the right track. It's interesting. Yeah.
You know what I'm just thinking about now that you're mentioning Ubuntu. Back home, I remember last year, so we had these guys that would come, and say, we are selling fish. Do you want to buy fish? So I remember just jokingly saying to this guy, do you have a fishing license? And then he just looked at me like, how when? And I'm like, yeah. Do you know that you can't just be fishing with
Yeah.
and to him, I was just like, hi, well, why do I need a fishing license? I mean, I can just, go to the beach and fish. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we need this control, because we have penguins right next door to us in Gqeberha, so we can't afford overfishing. And that guy looked at me like I was crazy. So
Exactly. So the realities on the ground are different. So as a researcher,
yeah.
are you just coming in as a researcher with this from a point of privilege?
Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, and that's how you call yourself towards yourself to say that actually also, guys, in the context that I'm trying to come in, I must also call myself towards myself. Am I coming from a point of privilege
Yeah.
where I'm overlooking the material realities of these people? This guy needs to survive. He needs to go fish so that he can sell fish, then he can buy other things to sustain himself and sustain his family. For him, the environment is helping him then. But then still, my brother, you can't just willy-nilly go about it. Your survival tactics can also have an Ubuntu-centric element to them as well.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
just then, what are you doing then to give back to the environment, to pay back to environment when you take from her in those ways? When you take from her, what are you giving back to her? And what are you doing to tell others to also please give back to
Yeah.
her in ways that will make sure that she sustains us by producing more fish for us?
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a two-way kind of relationship as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I will keep those in mind. Because there are things that when you're busy with your study, you don't think about. The people where you'll be conducting your interviews or your research. Like for people in the villages, maybe this will be like something foreign to them. They'll just look at me and be like, and also with the language that you mentioned, most people, I mean, these posts, they're in English, those
Yeah.
scientific terms, and people, you're talking about endangered. What is that? Are
Yes.
so how accessible do those people even understand when they see these messages? Do they even understand the terms that are used? So yeah, there's a lot to think about. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love your work. I love your thinking. I love your brain. I think now you are clear to conceptualize now. And like you said, I'm always there. You can just pop by the office and then we can just have more exchanges. But thank you for this and to have this shared publicly for people out there who are on the same path as you, because I think it will certainly be helpful as well. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming up with this idea because I know it has helped me and I know there are people like me who are also, needing this help. So I thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, my eyes are wide open.
Fantastic. Great then.
Thank you
So
so
happiness
much.
all around. I shall see you in the corridors, I suppose. That will thank you.
Yes, yeah, we shall see each other. Thank you so
Fantastic. Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you. Bye.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Sure.